HAMISH MCNICOL Last updated 0500, September 24, 2017. Former acting SFO Chief Executive Simon McArley says zespri has been under suspicion for too long. The Serious Fraud Office needs to face the possibility of making a tough decision on a zespri investigation which began a lifetime ago, the watchdog's former boss says. This after a High Court judge ruled the SFO acted unlawfully during its investigation into the kiwi fruit marketer. Former zespri chairman and director John Laughlin was last year required to attend a SFO interview as part of the investigation into zespri, which began in 2013. A High Court judge found Serious Fraud Office Director Julie Reed's decision unreasonable. But at the same time he was told to attend the interview, he was told his preferred lawyer, Mark Corlett, QC, was not allowed to be there with him. Read more. SFO probe costs zespri $6 million and counting. Serious Fraud Office interviews zespri directors and employees. This was because the same lawyer had attended SFO interviews with other people as part of the zespri investigation and had been briefed by the solicitors acting for zespri, Buttle Finley. Former zespri chairman John Laughlin successfully challenged the SFO in the High Court. Laughlin challenged this in court, however, and in a recently released judgment, Justice Jeffrey Venning revoked the SFO director Julie Reed's unreasonable decision to exclude Corlett, QC, from the interview. The judgment said the SFO did have the power to exclude lawyers if the investigation could be compromised by the lawyer's circumstances. At issue, therefore, was whether such a power was exercised lawfully. In this case, Justice Venning said there were many situations where lawyers could represent multiple people and there be no conflict of interest, an issue which was well understood, particularly by a senior lawyer. In the absence of evidence to the contrary, and there is none in this case, lawyers can be assumed to fulfill their professional duties and obligations, and to identify conflict and decline to act, the judgment said. Given the acceptance of Mr. Corlett's compliance with his ethical obligations, it is difficult to identify the practical reality of the concerns expressed by the director in this case. The evidence does not support a conclusion or finding that to allow Mr. Corlett to represent Mr. Laughlin at the interview will or is likely to prejudice the investigation or the examination process. Simon McArley, who was acting Serious Fraud Office Chief Executive for a year from late 2012, said it was unfortunate the SFO had taken this case to court and lost. Lawyers representing multiple people in an investigation was not a new issue, and he was surprised this case got to court because it seemed to be based on a hunch rather than evidence. This showed there was clearly some underlying frustrations with the zespri investigation, he said. I suspect they're hitting a brick wall and not getting anywhere. McArley said it was unacceptable the investigation, which had opened when he was at the SFO, had left zespri under suspicion without any charges, being later a decision not to prosecute for nearly 4 years. Zespri said last year the investigation had, so far, cost it $6 million, with more than 6 million documents being sent to the SFO. Chairman Peter McBride told shareholders it had sought a meeting with the SFO to seek clarification, but labeled the efforts a waste of time, to be blunt. McArley said the main issue highlighted by the recent High Court judgment was that nobody was bringing the investigation to a close. McArley called off an investigation into Hanover Finance in 2013 after a 32-month investigation without laying any criminal charges. Financial crime was difficult to prosecute because it often involved large investigations with enormous amounts of information, he said. What doesn't seem to be happening is decisions don't seem to be getting made. Sometimes you've got to make the tough decisions. Sometimes you've just got to be brave and let it go. The SFO declined to comment. Sunday Star Times.